those of you who don't know, between 1 to 2 p.m. East Coast time, I did a quick show on what is going on in Russia. I covered the events as they were happening, and they towards the end, they flipped on me. They changed completely. So everything's changed. So let me give you a quick update on where we are right now in terms of what is going on in Russia. As I think everybody knows by now, there was, I don't know any other way to call it, but basically a coup attempt earlier today by the head of the owner of the Wagner Group, also known as Putin's chef or Putin's cook. The guy started out his career in a catering business and has since purchased himself a private army, and that is what he has now. It's called the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group both took a city in Russia, Rostov, with the military command facility for the Russian forces in Ukraine, and it headed towards Moscow. It indeed reached 200 kilometers from Moscow. It was quite close. During the day today, it appears that the dictator of Belarus, Lukashenko, was on the phone with well, maybe they were Zooming. I don't know how they're communicating. Who knows how they were communicating? Maybe by Telegram. Communicating with the head of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, and they cut a deal with Putin's backing. And basically the deal is that Prigozhin gets what he originally wanted, which was the firing of the Russian Minister of Defense, and he gets the firing of some of the generals commanding the Ukrainian forces, the Russian forces in Ukraine. He also gets basically a pardon. All treason accusations against him get dissolved. He also gets his mercenary army gets full protection, and in exchange, he is turning his forces around and leaving Moscow and leaving Rostov. I just saw video of Wagner mercenaries leaving Rostov and heading towards back to, I guess, their bases in Donbass, in the occupied territory that is Ukraine's. Also rumored is part of this deal. Prigozhin will send many of his troops to Africa, where he has many troops already and where they control much of the natural resources in Africa. I don't know if that's true, but you think that Putin would require that, because otherwise Prigozhin has basically a force of 25,000, maybe more, troops ready to deploy whenever he doesn't feel right, whenever he doesn't like somebody in Moscow. Bottom line is that Putin is dramatically weakened. Putin is a much weaker leader right now in Russia. Prigozhin is basically Putin has capitulated to Prigozhin, and that doesn't go well generally in an authoritarian state. So how it all plays out, I think there's still a lot that we don't know, and there's a lot that is going to still happen. Who is really in control over there? But it really does seem that whatever happens, Putin has lost a lot of his power, a lot of his influence, and Prigozhin now, to a large extent, is calling the shots in Russia. I think it's important to note that it doesn't really matter who's calling the shots. They're all a bunch of thugs. Russia is a mafia state. It's a state run by bandits, private armies, crooks, and criminals. Who exactly is the crook in charge, I think matters little to most of us. Of course.
Yaron?
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Would you trust Putin pardoning you?
No, I don't think Prigozhin can trust anything Putin says. Indeed, I saw a story just from a few minutes ago that was being published, like most of the news now, on Telegram, that basically says that the security forces, FSB, are raiding homes of Wagner Group troops all over Russia. So they're taking over their homes. Now they have the family members of the officers and the soldiers. For all we know, this so-called agreement just bought the Russian security forces time to be able to go after the families of all the Wagner soldiers and gain leverage over Prigozhin. So very, very hard to tell exactly what is going on, and we won't know, I don't think, for a while. How it exactly happens.
Thank you for listening or watching the Yaron Brook Show. If you'd like to support the show, we make it as easy as possible for you to trade with me. You get value from listening. You get value from watching. Show your appreciation. You can do that by going to yaronbrookshow.com/support, by going to Patreon, Subscribestar, Locals, and just making a appropriate contribution on any one of those channels. Also, if you'd like to see the Yaron Brook Show grow, please consider sharing our content and, of course, subscribe. Press that little bell button right down there on YouTube so that you get an announcement when we go live. And for those of you who are already subscribers and those of you who are already supporters of the show, thank you. I very much appreciate it.